God's call to Abraham, the first call, was not give your life to Christ. There was no Christ then. But it was change location. Don't just come out and run anywhere.
True.
But follow to where he's taking you to. By God's grace, God will help us through as we do that.
Well, there are moments in your life where you get to a point in life and you just realize that the voices and the circles around you, they have basically shaped who you are today. And our environment basically holds a lot of influence over us. And you might be doing the right thing, but if you're in the wrong environment, you might not scale your potential. And so today we are talking about something that a lot of people are struggling with, and it is their environment. And joining me today is Dr. Seyi Bolorunduro. Actually, this is the second time we're bringing him on this show, and it's such a wonderful time to have you on the show. You're welcome, sir. And
Thank you very much.
if you're just listening to us, whether you're driving down the road or you're listening in your car or you're just sitting there with your family, just subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Adeleke. Also follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I see a lot of people listen, but you're not subscribing. And I believe when you do that and you give us a rating, it allows other people listening to podcasts on different channels to follow us and also engage in these insights that we are sharing. And by that, you can also transform your life. And so, like I said, we are going to be talking about the power of environment. And joining me is Dr. Seyi Bolorunduro. He's a medical practitioner, is a cardiologist, is a minister of God. We need to put that one there too. And, I just want us to start with something very simple. If there's one powerful truth you believe anyone listening today is going to go home with, what do you think that would be?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for inviting me, Kenny. It's always great to be here. I think that's a great question. We listen to podcasts, we share, we think about things, and when we go through this process, we always want to make sure we get something because you won't remember the whole thing, but you want to remember something that's going to transform you. So I would say the one thing I would think is the most important thing to learn from this is when God calls you, he places you in a specific location. And he says, he called Abraham. He says, leave your father's house where you have been placed, where you have known all your life, and go to a place where I will show you. God's call to Abraham, the first call, was not give your life to Christ. There was no Christ then, but it was change location. It was environmental. There's a location where you are. There's a location where I want you to be. And you just need to change that location. And most of the time, that's the call that God is giving to all of us.
Right.
He's giving that call to you. He's giving that call to me. He's trying to take us from where we are to where we should be. So just realizing that that's just in summary, change of location is what God wants us to do most of the time.
Absolutely. Change of location. And that's powerful because, you just sharing the story of Abraham made me realize that if Abraham was still where he was, there was no way he was going to see what God wanted him to see. And so many times people are in the wrong environment with the right potential, but because they are in an environment that limits them, instead of expanding their capacity, they find it so difficult to break out. Yeah. And, I just want us to go down the memory lane for you. This is Dr. Seyi. This is the cardiologist. This is the husband. I think it's necessary we add that.
Very
This is the minister of God. This is someone that mentors a lot of young people, a lot of people that are already working as well. For you, what has been the most defining moment for you in terms of how your environment has shaped you to be this person that you are today when you think about it?
Okay. Now that's, I think about that periodically.
Right.
And I think the most life-changing part of my life was between the age of 16 and 23. And that was when I was in university.
Yeah, can you tell us more about that?
University of Ilorin,
Oh,
number one university, better by far.
no, they call themselves better by far.
So
but
I
they're
mean,
not.
I just needed to just pat that for anybody who hasn't, just understanding that, just some facts what's going on. But on a serious note, I had finished high school. I got into good university, and I was a vulnerable teenager in the sense that I was a Christian. I was born again, but coming to college, as we call it here, I wasn't sure of what I'll be faced with, and I wasn't sure of the people around me and how they would how to adapt. So I came in as a Christian, but I was trying to keep it down. But God put me in the right place. He put me around the right people. So I came to campus. I was in the first room I stayed in was a room where the people around me, the people that were colonizing that room. And for those of us who went to college, university in Nigeria, we understand what the colonizers are. They're in the room before you and they would never leave. But the people that were there, even though they didn't pay for the room, were Christians, and they were leaders of a campus fellowship. And as we grew together, as we stayed, when I made friends with them and all of that, I got to understand the importance of God and then how God. I understood the importance of God, but I understood that you could actually be a Christian and you could shine your light. So through that and through the people I got to meet in my own fellowship, I developed relationships. I was strategically positioned where I began to grow in leadership, in relationship with God, and in also being able to mentor and be mentored. So that age group, that change, that age 16 to 23, I think really changed me. So by the time I was graduating from college, I was already, I was a doctor then and everything, but besides that, I had also grown to know who I was in God, what I was supposed to do. I had a lot of perspective then. So, that's a very, very important phase in people's lives. And that's why I minister to young, I'm in the youth ministry, because I feel like, God has called me to that group, because that group, once you can get that phase of your life corrected, be in the right environment, be around the right people, around people that would influence you positively during that phase of your life, it kind of sets you up to be whatever you can be. Some people make the biggest mistakes of their life also during that same period, where they spend the rest of their life trying to recover from it. So thank God that God really placed me in the right position, in the right room, in the right school, and around the right people.
Oh, that's so powerful. The power of positioning. You said so many things that I picked up on, and it's how the people we find ourselves with, they really influence who we are going to become. Like you rightly mentioned, you were lucky and graced by God to find yourself in an environment whereby there were student leaders of like Christian organization on campus. And it's totally different from how I went to university. Because for me, when I first got to Lautech, I went to Lautech.
Yeah.
And so when I first got there, the set of people I initially met, there were guys that liked to go to club. And so my first semester, my CGPA wasn't that bad, but it wasn't what I believe I could get.
Yeah.
Because I found myself in the wrong environment. And the turning point was when I decided that, okay, I was not going to hang around these guys. Then I changed my environment. I started moving with like the Christian fellowship on campus, the students that we're thinking alike. And that basically changed not just my academics, but also my work with God. And it's such a powerful thing. There's something that someone said about the theory of 25 words. And so that theory is that pick the 5 people that are around you, describe the 5 of them in 5 words. And that's exactly who you are.
That's a good one. That's very similar to Jim Rohn's quote.
Oh, wow.
You are the average of your 5 closest friends.
Wow.
So Jim Rohn is learned a lot from him and his books on on personal development, and you're the average of your 5 closest friends. If you say these are my 5 friends, they're the people I spend the most time, the most exposure to, you are one of them. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm just different, I'm just around them. Oh, you are the same. You're the average. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's flip it a little bit as well. Have you ever found yourself in the wrong environment?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It happens actually more often than it should.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. So I'm a Lagos boy. I grew up in Lagos, and I also grew up around people who, like you said, tend to be outgoing in a way. And so right from when I was in high school, no, maybe not high school. Yeah, towards the end of not in my school, but outside of my school, people kind of thought that I was a certain kind of person. And so in every place I go to, because I'm friendly, and I'm in college, I became, of course, more friendly. And I was a leader, and I was going and interacting with people in many places. So, and then I came to the US. I was on the campus fellowship. No, not the campus fellowship. I was on the campus fellowship also, but I was on the campus governments. So I was the representative of my class in the student assembly. And so, one of the most popular people on campus at the time. And then so people tend to assume some things when you are that person. And so, and evolution up till now, people tend to assume, so I think when you're around those people, if you're not careful, we think that peer pressure is just for kids or for teenagers. Peer pressure is for anybody.
Wow.
If you keep surrounding yourself with the wrong environment, you're going to be pressured to do things that, you should not do, because you're just going to find out that, oh yeah, this is what people do. This is what people do. And it's like, okay, I don't do this. But you find out that those influences. So knowing what I'm saying and knowing the fact that I tend to be very friendly and I can blend into many conversations, I need to be very careful about where I place myself. So what groups, what friends do you hang out with, or what colleagues you hang out with? Because that's the environment you're talking about here. So it's like, okay, well, I got to understand that, okay, yes, if I spend a lot of time around these people who find me friendly and find me cool, I might end up drifting towards a side that I should not be. So, understanding what God has called you to be, understanding the people you have been called to reach out to, should also influence you to decide that you want to be around the people that meet those same specifications. Because if not, you will become the average of, in mathematics, we talk about weighted averages.
Yeah.
When you weight things together, it brings you down, or the extremes would pull you up.
Yeah.
So Jim Rohn's principle on being the average of your 5 closest friends has been something that I've read since I was a teenager until now, and it helps me in deciding who I spend more time with.
Oh, that's powerful. And there was something I picked up from what you said. It's how your purpose basically determines the people you hang around.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask a follow-up question, right? For someone that basically see themselves becoming, let's say, a pastor, do they necessarily need to start hanging around people of that like mind?
Like pastors?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can't be a pastor if you're not hanging around pastors. I mean, who's going to mentor you? Who's going to train you? Who's going to, it's what we do, whatever. So I'm an interventional cardiologist. So I'm a cardiologist, but I'm not just a cardiologist. I'm a cardiologist that does procedures on people's hearts, that fixes their hearts. Now, if I say I want to be that, but I don't want to hang around people who did that, I can never be that.
Right.
So I can never learn to become that without hanging around the people who, would teach me to do it. So it's important to be around people that you want to aspire towards. So when somebody says, I want to be a lawyer, you're going to have to learn the art of the law. That's what we do. We call it education. We pay a lot of money to go to college. But what you're doing is just being around people who are doing what you want to do. And they teach you the ways of doing it. So before we started colleges, surgeons and physicians didn't go to college. You just went and you stayed around the person who does it.
Oh, really?
Yes. Wow. You're an apprentice. So it was apprenticeship. So everything you do, everything you want to be, you learn by some form of apprenticeship, either by spending time around that person or reading what the person has put down. So I don't think you can be anything that you have not seen. So you can't be something unless you see it. And if you don't, and when you see it and you learn it, then you can now try to become it. So that's the evolution. So I think people saying I have this goal, which is great. The next step is find somebody who is living that goal. Get close to that person. Either as a mentor, if you can get close enough to be as a mentor, or from a distance, model yourself after this. That's why you get more role models, right? Model yourself after that person. But you got to get that perspective of the person, see what they're doing, see what they have done, chart their course, and then you can become them.
Oh,
yeah.
That's very powerful. Because, just as you were talking about it, I was thinking about my life as well. And you said something really powerful, that if you want to become something, you need to hang around the people that are already doing this thing. And it comes to mentorship. So for you, when you think about mentorship, what do you think you're looking for in a mentor?
I think so for me, I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I've been blessed by God because God has put very, very, very wonderful mentors in my life. And, honestly, I can't say I wouldn't be where I am if not for the people that God has helped me to meet along the way. And so I have mentors for different things. I have mentors for career. I have career mentors. So when I was trying to be what I want to be, I did medical school in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there was no field like interventional cardiology. It didn't even exist. I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, wow.
So when I came to the US, and then I knew I wanted to be a cardiologist, but I knew I wanted to do procedures. I didn't know that there was something that did both until I was talking to one of my mentors who was a vascular surgeon, and he said, "Oh, what do you want to be?" And I said, "I like cardiology, but I want to do surgery, pinhole surgery for it." It was like cardiothoracic surgery. I was like, "No, I don't want to cut people's chest open. I want to do pinhole if it's." He was like, "Oh, like interventional cardiology." I was like, "What is that?" And that conversation with a mentor led me to where I am right now. Because it's not like now where you have social media where you can actually see a lot of things and there's a lot of information. It was that conversation. Subsequently, the steps I achieved, getting from there, the person who came in as a student to where I finished, was true mentorship, where I could connect with somebody, I could see it, and then I could aspire to it. That was like, we go back to Abraham's story. You see, God tells him change location, right? And so he left where he was and says, "And take you to a place where I will show you." And then he moved. Then Lot and him had the whole issue. Lot left. What did God tell Abraham at that point? God took Abraham again to the desert and he said, "Stand up, look." He took him to a position where he could see. He was not in his room. He changed his location. So environment, right? Brought him outside, told him to look up as far as he could see. Look at the stars. Look as far as you can see. Can you number them? As far as you could see, the number of those stars will be the number of your children. When God wanted to give him something, God had him see it.
All right.
You cannot become something unless you see it. So I got to that point where I now realized, okay, I had to see stuff. And I started, okay, this is what I want to be. This guy has pointed me in that direction. He's not that. But I don't have any mentors who are that. So I started, doing research with somebody, and then the person connected me to a mentor. Because then I asked him, I was like, I need somebody who's in this field. And then he said, oh yeah, I know somebody. He connected me with that person. That person mentored me. And then I would go for conferences. I would meet people that look like me. Because, this is not a field that black guys are in.
Yeah.
It's not a field that it's a very highly competitive field. And so and then it's, so you see a fewer proportion of people who look like you doing it. And then, you're coming from Nigeria. So I got to see people like that. I got to see that it was possible. I got to aspire and I got to do it. The same thing happens also as a Christian. One of my influences in the Christian faith was Reverend George Adeleke.
Oh.
I hear him preach the word. I mean, I was in Ilorin, right? So it wasn't my church, but I would go there and I would attend YMTS, Young Ministers Training Teaching School, and then other things that he would do. And I was like, I get influenced by people, and I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. So then and also of course other people, many other people that God has used to influence me, different leaders, mentors all the way. And that's career-wise, relationship-wise too. My wife, we talk about my wife and I, we talk, and I talk to people, and I come back and I'm like, oh yeah, I learned this from this person. So I think I learned so much from people. And then we have relationship mentors also. I have financial mentors. In every field I have people that I talk to, like, okay, look, if I want something, this is the person who is my resource person for this. If I want something in this field, that's my resource person. And then that way I can grow. But, based on your priority, you need to have somebody who is helping you grow up. So you need to have those relationships. The mentor, you should have mentees who you're bringing up, because that's not, if you're going up and you're not bringing people up, then that's bad.
Right.
So you got to be bringing people up. And then you now have mates. So you have mentors, mentees, and mates. These are 3 M's that you should always have at all points. So who is helping you get up? Who are you pulling up? And who are your mates? Because you can't just keep on focusing on, you got to have contemporaries too.
Yeah, that means we need to have like 3 types of people in our cycle.
Yeah.
Mentors, your contemporaries, and your mentees, people that you're bringing up.
Yeah. So I call them the mates. So just call them 3 M's.
Yeah.
Your mentors, your mentees, your mates.
Absolutely. I like that theory.
Yeah.
I like the framework.
Yeah.
And I think everybody needs to, put that into perspective of, having a mentor. And something unique that you actually really mentioned is, when you have a mentor, you can have mentor for different areas of your life. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to just have one mentor, but different areas of your life, people that have gone ahead of you to do it. And also having like mentees, then your mate as well, that you guys can reason together. Mm-hmm. And that's really powerful. So I want us to talk, because I know people are listening right now. A lot of people find it so difficult sometimes to leave an environment that they find themselves in. And I don't know if I've been in that kind of situation myself, whereby I'm already used to this environment, but now I have outgrown this environment. Mm-hmm. And now people struggle with it. So let's first talk about what is the danger there in finding yourself stay in such an environment. You're loyal to this environment, but you've outgrown it and you need to get out of that place. An environment doesn't really mean a location. It could be a mindset. It could be around a circle of people. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is the danger then? What would be your advice to such a person?
So I think, it's important for people to think about your why for everything you do. Why do you do what you do? That's a question I always ask myself whenever I do anything. Why do you want to get here? Why do you want to have this amount of money? Why do you want to do this? And why has to align with your purpose, your reason,
right,
for being on this earth, on what you're doing. And so if you understand your why, then you understand that the reason why you do what you do is because God wants you to do it, because you are fulfilling purpose.
Yes.
So if God's purpose for you is something and you are not doing that, and you are staying in a place where you don't fulfill purpose, then you're pretty much like the person who buried his 1 talent. right? I mean, he didn't do anything bad by burying his one talent. He didn't hide, he didn't steal it.
Yes. And he didn't lose it.
He didn't lose it. Right?
Yeah.
What did he do that was wrong?
He didn't just use it.
He didn't use it. He didn't maximize it. Right? So when the master came back, he said, you could have, knowing that I was such a master that would reap where he would not earn, you should have taken my money and invested it and put it in the bank. So there was something that he could have done. So sometimes our comfort zone could be to put our talents under the pillow.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable here. This is what I'm comfortable doing. And to break out and go invest and use those resources and multiply your talents, your 5 to make 10, your 2 to make 4, would require you breaking out of your comfort zone. And so, why? Because that's my purpose. So somebody else might be comfortable saying, look, I will stay here. And I'm just going to use location terms. I'll stay here in my village.
Yeah.
Because these are my family and these are my people, and I will stay here. And when God is calling you to the world, you are burying your one talent. You are putting it under your pillow. So even if it's comfortable for you, that's not what God has called you to. If God has called you to minister on the pulpit, or to minister to the world, or to start a podcast, and affect the world, and change the world, and then, influence people with what you have, and then you're like, I'm a shy person, so I will just stay like this, I'm comfortable like this. Yes, you might like it, but are you fulfilling your why that you were created to fulfill? So to fulfill your why is to multiply your talents, your 5 to 10. And that requires you stepping out of your comfort zone. So what I would tell that person is, hey, did God tell you to do something? If God has told you to do it, then you got to do it. Did God give you resources? Did God give you investments in you that he wants you to bring out? He did, in every one of us. And so we kind of have to do something more.
Oh. I just had like a reminiscence because as you were talking, I'm a shy person naturally.
I called you out, right?
Yes, you did. I'm a shy person naturally. And when I wanted to start this podcast, it was just a passion that was ignited in me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't listening to podcasts regularly at that point in time, but something just ignited in me and I prayed about it as well. And okay, I started thinking about the name and it came Inside Zone, right? And I started a podcast. The first few recordings were pretty bad, but I just did it.
Yeah.
Because I had this nudge that, the Bible says that it is God that works in us both to will and to do of his good pleasure. And so I just knew that it was God that was working in me to do this thing. Because I felt like if we could share intentional insights for people to listen, it can transform their mind. And by transforming their mind, they can transform their life and affect their community, then affect the nations as well. And you mentioned something that people need to leave their environment, because even if you don't leave it, you might not be of the utmost benefit to the people that you are trying to stay with. And that was the same thing with someone like Abraham as well. And I really appreciate what you shared there, because just thinking about that, my mind was like, wow, that's powerful, because we just need to move. That's so powerful. And I want us, as we now start to round up, if you're going to design a very good environment for yourself, what should you be looking at? Yeah, and for people listening, I'm sure they will really want to know, if they're going to design an environment for themselves, what are like the key things they need to be looking at?
So, and I'm not trying to speak Christianese, but honestly, I don't know if we are able to design the right environment for ourselves. Because, we can design environments, we can create what we think is right, and we can enjoy it, and we may not enjoy it, but is that the environment that we were created for? Is that the environment we were sent for? So the way I live my life, and by God's grace, I pray that I live my life that way. That's the way I want to live my life. Is to always hear from God and know what God wants me to be doing at the right time. So basically, God, what environment should I be?
Should I be here?
And then I now work with Him to design that environment.
Right.
If I do that right, then I would always be within the center of God's will, which is the best place for me.
Right.
Because I could decide now that, okay, yes, God has been very good to me. I mean, He brought me from Nigeria, helped me to train in the top places in the world, graduate from the top places in the world, in the field, in the very competitive specialty. And, and one of the benefits that gives you, which is also a struggle, is everybody thinks that you are so good at this, you should be this. Your professors, your friends, everybody has a perspective of, oh man, you were so good at this. This is who you should be. You're so good at this is who you should be. Oh look, this is the trajectory you are going to.
Right.
And if you're not careful, you're going to be living other people's perceptions of you, not what God has called you to. And then you might do that for 10, 15, 20 years and realize that there's emptiness there because that was not where you were sent to. But that was where people thought that you should be. Oh, you're such a good speaker, you should be a lawyer. Or rather, in my case, oh, you're so smart and this, you train at the top places in the country, you should be in the academic place doing this in a core area of and then, but God wanted me to have a bigger capacity to impact the world in a different way. And then, so understanding what God has called me to do was pivotal to design my future. So I think that's where it is, getting that perception, get that perception of what God wants to do. And then now keep exploring, and then He would lead you to the right people. But I think, we just do what the Israelites did and follow the pillar of cloud.
Just thinking about that, I like the way you spoke about it from the mindset of being in the center of God's will. Because when you're in the center of God's will, it directs where you are to go, who you are to be with, where you should go and learn some things from. And I think that's the best way, because as believers, that's the best way to live our life. And I'm so glad that you let us. So as we just, as we just round up this episode, I just want to ask one final question. And my question will be, if someone is listening today, right, what do you think they need to start auditing immediately? Someone that is feeling stuck right now, where they are. What do you think they need to audit in their life?
So,
and what do you think they need to do?
If you're feeling stuck right now, that might be God tugging on you. That might be God tugging on you. You're feeling stuck because you're supposed to be moving and God is tugging on you. So you want to clarify and know if it's really God. We know the story of Esau and Jacob.
Right.
And then Esau was, he had his issues. But the Bible says that when you grow restless, you would throw off his yoke from off your shoulder. And that was his brother. That was the yoke of Jacob on him will be thrown off his shoulder. So sometimes that restlessness, that I'm stuck, I need to do something, that might be God saying that at that point, okay, yeah, grow restless, throw off that yoke over your shoulder, and then you can run. And that's when He sets free. So sometimes that's God calling you to, you're restless, throw it off. And then now you're asking God, okay, God, now I want to run. In what direction can I run? Where should I run? Where should I go to? And then you run in the right direction, but you want to run in the direction that God is leading you to. Because unfortunately, many people just run in the direction where they think it's popular. I want to be the richest man in the world. And then you run and money becomes your God. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm achieving this, I'm achieving that, but is that what God wants to be? I want to be the most popular person for fame, from fortune, whatever it is. And you run in that direction, but is that where God is taking you to? I think, God might be calling you to be restless or to be restless at that point and to throw off that yoke and start moving. But you want to make sure you're moving in the direction that where he wants you to go. So like we talked about from Abraham, come out from your family, of your father's house to the place where I want you to go. I will take you. So yes, he's restless. He has to move.
Right.
But there's a direction of where God is taking him to.
Right.
Don't just come out and run anywhere.
True.
But follow to where he's taking you to. By God's grace, God will help us through as we do that.
Powerful. And we've had it. We've heard it all. If you're feeling stuck, clarify with God. If God is telling you to move, make sure you know that is the voice of God. And then you move and you obey. Thank you so much, Dr. Seyi.
Thank you very
so
much.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, it's great.
Second time on the Inside Zone. And
thank you.
2 is a number, then 3 is perfect. Well, it's so glad to have you on the Inside Zone. And if you're listening to us right now and you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure you do. Follow us on Apple, Spotify. Follow Inside Zone. Leave us a comment. Leave us a rating. Tell us what you have learned so far from this episode. I've spoken about the power of your environment. And like Dr. Seyi rightly mentioned, your environment might be the limiting factor or the propelling factor that would make you become who you were supposed to be. So have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Great talking with all of you. Thank you very much, Kenny. This is a great experience. Thank you
so much, sir. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.